those questions, I think that addresses that. Meghna, your question is also similar. The three locations that you mentioned, there's no particular strategy as such. These were locations that are reasonably close, and we feel these are our safe zones. And the request is to see if they can move there. Yes, I understand the difficulties. I understand some places, some people are reporting some difficulties of various kinds, including violence continuing. But look, we'll work with that. We are in touch with the student coordinators, and this advisory we would urge everyone to take seriously to the and leave. Siddhant, you mentioned how many people. It's a very difficult question to answer. We've been trying to give you assessments of where people are. I don't think it'll be an appropriate and accurate, considering that we're asking people to move out. As I mentioned, we had an original number of about 20,000 who had registered. Our sense is that the number of people who were there were a little more than who had registered, because we have now a broad understanding that about 17,000 people, or near 17,000 people, have left. So there would have been a little more to begin with who may not have registered, but obviously we will bring back every Indian who's there. So I don't think I know that some people left last night from Kharkiv in some trains today morning. So I think instead of looking at those numbers, let's see whoever is left, let's see if we can get them all in. As you know, in Kyiv, we managed to do that. Fingers crossed that Kharkiv also continues the same way. Vijay Lakshmi ji, आपने जिक्र किया एक इंडियन स्टूडेंट जिसके बारे में, सॉरी आप यहीं बैठे हुए हैं, मेरे पास कुछ इसमें खबर है. चंदन जिंदल, एक स्टूडेंट विनीत्सिया में पढ़ रहे थे, आज उनकी मौत हो गई, और कंडोलेंसेस टू द फैमिली. पर ये नेचुरल कॉजेस में से हुई है. वो काफी दिन से हॉस्पिटल में थे, और उनके साथ उनके फैमिली मेंबर हैं यूक्रेन में उनके साथ, और हमारी तरफ से हमारी शोक एंड our deepest condolences. Let me go on to the next set of questions. Okay, hold on. You've been raising your hand earlier, so let me go here then.
Myself, Arnansha, I represent the New Indian. So yesterday you mentioned about the negotiation. What sort of negotiation is this, and what kind of back-channel diplomacy with Russia and Ukraine? And is it the same negotiator functioning with both sides? And secondly, instead of the civilian alliance, we're using this IF forces. Is it some sort of message?
Sorry, I didn't get the last part. IF message to whom?
To the Russians. Instead of civilian air forces.
Instead of?
Civilian airlines.
Sorry, instead of civilian aircraft.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead, yeah.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Yeah, please.
Sir, Shalandra from News 18. हमें कल बताया गया था कि बेलगोरोड में भी एक टीम तैनात की गई है MEA की, जो मॉस्को से गई है. वो काफी करीब है खार्किव के. क्या उसके थ्रू एक कॉरिडोर की बात की जा रही थी कि वहां से एक कॉरिडोर बनाया जाएगा? आज जो एम्बेसडर की प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस भी हुई है, रशियन एम्बेसडर की, उन्होंने भी इस बात पर कहा कि हम कॉरिडोर बनाएंगे ताकि स्टूडेंट्स को वहां से निकाला जा सके. तो क्या अपनी एम्बेसी जो टीम वहां पर है, उनको कुछ आगे रास्ता बना पाए हैं वो निकालने के लिए इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स को?
आपका?
Sir, I'm Suchitra from New Zealand Tamil, and there are students in the area of Mykolaiv in Ukraine. So we are getting reports that they don't have any connectivity, including the rail station got blasted in missile hit. So do you have any update on that? How many students are there?
How many you said, no? Yeah, Sudhir.
Sir, Shruti Ranjan from the Bloomberg, sir. Any inputs or background you could share on whether Prime Minister is speaking to any of his counterparts, or the EAM speaking to anybody else on the crisis and on the students also, sir? Thank you.
Shrinja? You, a second round later, please. Let me finish.
Sir, this talk of getting people out from the east has been talked about for a while. How feasible is it now? Because, as you know, there is a window of opportunity to get people out. If there is safe passage from both sides, can the east, getting people out from the east, work out?
I saw one more hand. Okay, no, let me take this round of questions. Let me start with, I'm not sure, Arangsha, what you meant by negotiator. I don't remember the word negotiations. As I mentioned, we had been in touch with the Russians. I don't know if that's a negotiation. Diplomats tend to use the word negotiations a little more carefully. This is a discussions, and we've been in touch with them, and to basically press our demand that, as well as to the Ukrainians, that we need a mechanism, a safe passage for our people. And as I mentioned just now, this is based on Russian inputs, what we have put the advisory. I wouldn't like to characterize it as a corridor or passage, but we would like to get all our people out. Your other part of it is we will, as Foreign Secretary I think mentioned on Sunday, we will use whatever options we need and is felt appropriate to bring out our people. As I mentioned, we had been using civilian aircrafts, and it was felt that our assets regarding C-17 would also be able to augment and help and streamline that process. And so we have been using it. If you recall it correctly, one of the C-17s has also gone out with humanitarian assistance out. So that's a decision that's based on operational requirement and ground situation. शैलेंद्र जी, बेलगोरोड में बात आपने की. जी, हमारी टीम सिर्फ बेलगोरोड में नहीं है, और भी जगह भी है, कुर्स्क में भी है, और कुछ और जगह भी है रशियन साइड पे. पर देखिए, ये हमारे चॉइस पे तो नहीं है. वो मैप में तो बहुत पास लगता है, पर अभी एक वहां हॉस्टाइल, वहां वॉर चल रहा है. तो अभी के लिए जो रूट लग रहा है, जो हमारी रशियंस की बातचीत करने के बाद जो हमने एडवाइजरी इशू की है, वो वेस्ट और साउथ वेस्ट की तरफ है. पश्चिम के दिशा से ही यूक्रेन की तरफ है. पूर्व की दिशा में वहां रशियन फोर्सेस होंगे या कुछ भी होंगे, हमें नहीं मालूम. मैं इसमें कह नहीं सकता हूं कि क्या, पर हाँ, अगर मौका मिले तो वो ऑप्शन हमारे पास है और हम उसको देख रहे हैं क्या हो सकता है. बट अभी के लिए जो आप जिक्र कर रहे हैं, खार्किव में जो हमारी एडवाइजरी है, उसमें सिर्फ ये 3 पश्चिम की तरफ जगह है, सेफ जोन्स की बात हम कर रहे हैं. You mentioned, Suchitra ji, of Mykolaiv. Yes, look, as I mentioned, Kharkiv, of course, we're looking at, but there are other cities. There is Sumy, there's Mykolaiv. Zaporizhzhia has now luckily been a little better. There are a couple of other places nearby. So our request has always been on a safe passage from Kharkiv and nearby adjoining places. The same response I gave to Siddhant. I don't think I would be in a position to share exact numbers. Our teams, both in MEA control rooms here, as well as our MEA control centers or embassy control centers, are taking in all the information, and people do move. So let's, one of the problems we face is somebody sends a message saying, I'm here, and in 10 hours next day, by the time. So I think, but yes, we are focused on trying to get them out. And I mentioned right in the beginning, we are seeing if we can send an actual embassy team there somewhere in the eastern region to coordinate this from these places, depending, of course, on the ground situation. Sudhi, this is a question that I can answer very easily. When it happens, we will let you know. Prime Minister has been actually in touch with a lot of leaders over the last couple of days, as you know. He spoke to the neighboring countries. He's spoken to Poland. He's spoken to Slovak Republic. He's spoken to Romanian leaders. He also received calls from President Macron, as well as with, I think, the Commission head, Charles Michel, yesterday at the European Union. And so is External Affairs Minister. He also informs you of his conversations. So once it happens and we are in a position to share that, we'll certainly do that. Shinjo, I didn't get your exact details of your question. Yes, in the east is something that we are looking at. There are a number of towns. Some of them then people have reduced in because people have come out. We are open to looking at any option in which to do, whether it's east, west, or through the south, wherever there is a safe route, a mechanism to bring out our citizens, we will use that. We are exploring, certainly exploring all the options. Okay, if there are no further questions, I would like to thank you. Okay, last. One second, ma'am. Microphone, please.
So one thing is that you're talking about how things have been escalating. So how soon can this eastern region be opened up? Also, there has been a query regarding Naveen's mortal remains. Is that a possibility, or you think it may not be possible to extricate him?
Okay, one second, one by one. Okay, and Naveen's, okay.
सर, पश्चिम बंगाल की मुख्यमंत्री ममता बनर्जी कह रही हैं कि 3 महीने पहले लेकर के आना चाहिए था, बहुत देर सरकार ने कर दी वहां से अपने नागरिकों को, छात्रों को निकालने में.
Last question.
रूसी राष्ट्रपति व्लादिमीर पुतिन से आज दोबारा प्रधानमंत्री मोदी बात करने वाले हैं या हुई?
ओके, नीरज जी, मैं जो प्रश्न का उत्तर मैंने अभी दिया सुधी जी को, वही मैं आपको दूंगा. प्रधानमंत्री जी बहुत देशों के लीडर्स के साथ बात कर रहे हैं। जब ऐसा कोई बातचीत होती है हम उसको शेयर करते हैं। मैं पहले से कुछ कहना नहीं चाहूंगा। Regarding your query regarding 3 months ago, look, I have a very good policy of not responding to comments that either have not seen or not directly. All I can say is, look, we take the decisions on evacuating our citizens at the appropriate time. We have been issuing advisories for quite some time now, and many people did leave. But a conflict situation has arisen, which has led to a formal evacuation process, which has started now. And as you can see, a significant number of people have been evacuated. I think MEA has been in partnership and cooperation with IAF and other partners across the government and civil aviation and other states has been quite successful in bringing out a large number, as you see. Unfortunately, there are pockets where violence and conflict is still underway, and that has made it a little more difficult. Nevertheless, as today's advisory indicates, we still see some hope of getting this done. That is linked to the question, Joe. Who asked that one about Naveen's? Look, the Kharkiv is the focus. We know there are other cities, but the Kharkiv probably is the largest in terms of concentration of Indians that we had. We will continue to press. If Kharkiv, we can manage to do something today in terms of getting people out. But we will. I don't know what you mean by opening up the eastern region. It's a look. Violence has to stop. We have to have a mechanism of ensuring safe passage. We are cognizant and we are pushing for that. As regards bringing back Sri Naveen's mortal remains, look, our endeavor is to facilitate the return to India of the mortal remains of Sri Naveen. In the current situation, of course, we are looking at how that can be done, and I'll share with you anything that we have later on. I think we'll stop here. Appreciate very much. आपका वॉइस नहीं आएगा माइक्रोफोन के बिना।
सर, आपने कहा शुरू में कि 17,000 लोग निकाले जा चुके हैं
करीब 17
15 फरवरी के बाद,
नहीं पहले से, जब से हमने एडवाइजरी पहले जारी की थी। मतलब हमने जनवरी के अंत में हमने रजिस्ट्रेशन शुरू किया था, और तब से लगा लीजिए हमने 17,000 डेट नहीं डालना चाहूंगा, कोई कुछ पहले एक आध दिन पहले। दिस इज गोइंग ओके, थैंक यू। करीब 17,000 के हमारे लग रहा है, हमारे जो नंबर्स आए हैं। या ओके, लास्ट फाइनल क्वेश्चन।
सर, जो पीएम की मीटिंग हुई थी उसमें ये कहा गया था कि अगर कोई डेवलपिंग कंट्री या फिर नेबरिंग कंट्री हमसे मदद मांगेगी तो इनके नेशनल्स को भी इवैक्यूएट किया जाएगा। क्या किसी कंट्री ने अब तक इवैक्यूएशन रिक्वेस्ट डाली है?
देखिए, ये आपने ये क्वेश्चन का मैं जवाब ठीक से नहीं देख पाऊंगा, क्योंकि हो सकता है ग्राउंड लेवल पे मांगा हो या नहीं। पर मैं जो कहना चाहता हूं कि देखिए, इन प्रिंसिपल हम हमेशा दूसरे देशों की मदद करने के लिए तैयार हैं। अगर हमें कोई स्पेसिफिक रिक्वेस्ट मिले इस पे, तो उसको हमारा जो नजरिया होगा हम इसी से गाइडेड होगा। अभी पर अगर कहीं कोई स्पेसिफिक है, पता नहीं, हमें, मुझे तो मालूम नहीं है अभी कि ऐसा कोई है, पर अगर मौका ऐसा हो और हम कर पाए तो हम जरूर मदद करेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस फॉर